Hi, I'm Dr. Diane Duckett, and welcome to another episode of Becoming You. This podcast is to help assist you in becoming a better, successful you in life and in business. I am delighted to share with you today on just that. We know that becoming a better you takes work. In fact, it takes a lot of work that we sometimes really don't want to do on ourselves. Today, I want to talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Yes, today I want to talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Yes, getting out of your comfort zone. In becoming you, you must realize that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Let me say that again. In becoming you, you must realize that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. As we all know, we all love comfort. We love the comfort of going to work from 9 to 5. We love the comfort of just sitting in the house and doing nothing. We love the comfort of eating our favorite foods. While we love this comfort, many prefer not to get out of their comfort zones because everything is familiar. You are comfortable in what you see. You are comfortable in what you smell. You are comfortable in what you hear. You are comfortable in what you touch. You are comfortable in what you taste. And even you are comfortable in what you think. Yes, I just used the 5 senses plus 1. You see, our 5 senses say a lot about what we feel about ourselves. Touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste send information to our brain to help us understand and perceive the world around us. Our 5 senses help us see, help us hear, help us feel, help us smell, and help us taste. And the plus 1 is thought. We know the thoughts and feelings that prevail in that zone, and that's why we love to live in this comfort zone, because it is comfortable to us. Who wants to change that comfort? Some people just want to stay where they are. They don't want to move from where they are to where they really need to be. And so they want to stay in that comfortable spot, that comfortable zone, because they know that that's their place of safety. And because of our 5 senses, plus 1 helps us to read the environment we live in and keeps us safe. It helps us to communicate and learn about the place we are in. Our 5 senses makes us comfortable to the everyday patterns we use with our senses plus 1. And when I say plus 1, I mean the thoughts that we have, the thinking that we have, either about ourselves or about the negative things that, are, coming towards us, where, our thoughts are determining, our movement, are determining if we're going to get out of that comfortable zone to become uncomfortable. And the moment our senses are off, we become uncomfortable in that zone and try to figure out ways to get back to being comfortable in the zone that we were comfortable in. And so you might like sitting on your couch watching TV all day, or you might be one of those ones who like to stay in your bed all day and just sleep yourself away, sleep life away, you sleep your stresses away, sleep your depressions away, sleep whatever it is, away, your financial status, your financial situations away. But that's a place of comfort, because we know that when we are in our comfortable place, and when we are, in that bed or on that couch or whatever it is that makes us comfortable, we know that, we feel safe, and we know that nothing can enter, into that space, because we're actually in our comfortable space. And so no doubt our comfort zone is a beautiful place. It can be a very beautiful place, but because our comfort zone is where we focus on our own likes and convenience. Our comfort zone is where we limit our commitment. Our comfort zone is where we fail to deny ourselves. Our comfort zone is beautiful because it's a place of comfort. And guess what? It's so much so a place of comfort that we don't even have to hold ourselves accountable to anybody. We don't have to, respect, anything that's around us, because guess what? That is our comfort zone. And so the only thing that grows there is boredom, laziness, anxiety, and fears. And your potential is even stuck in this comfort zone at some point. And your dreams will sometimes die in this comfort zone, because guess what? You're not allowing yourself to become uncomfortable, to come out of the comfort zone that you in, to allow your dreams to come alive, to allow your dreams to become a reality. And so sometimes your dreams will die because you're in a place of comfort, and you're not willing to move out of that place of comfort to become uncomfortable. In this comfort zone, you can never thrive, right? You can never thrive. You can never soar. You can never flourish. You can't do anything good in this comfort zone, because guess what? You are comfortable where you're at. And when we are too comfortable, we are less likely to move, right? We are less likely to move where we are to where we need to be. Imagine something you do every day or all the time, like brushing your teeth and watching the news, or cooking breakfast, dinner, or lunch, or something like that. These daily activities that you're used to doing won't make you feel uneasy or uncomfortable or anxious. Why? Because they belong to your comfort zone. So you see, some things just belong to our comfort zone, but some things don't belong to our comfort zone. So you have to brush your teeth daily. That belongs to your comfort zone. You have to watch some TV for entertainment, or to watch the news to see what's going on in the world. That's part of your comfort zone. You have to cook to eat, right? These are the norms and the essentials in our daily comfort zones that we need to have in our comfort zones, so that we can, basically do the things that we need to do because of those things that we need as part of our comfort zone. It's like, Maslow's basic needs, the hierarchy thing, where it's saying, like, the basic needs of humans is basically like food and water and nurture and stuff like that. Well, part of our hierarchy as far as being comfort is the comfort zone of we needing the things to, like, brush our teeth, watch TV, cook, and etc. We need those things as part of our comfort zone, but there are some things that we just don't need as far as part of our comfort zone, because those are the things that are going to get us out of position, out of what we're supposed to be doing in life, because we're so stuck in the comfort zone, and we don't want to move out of our comforts. For us, familiarity is not just comfortable, but seems to be safe. So if we feel like we're safe, we're not going to move anywhere. We're not going to do the things that we need to do, because we're so familiar with the comfortable zone that we're in, and that comfortable zone provides us with a safe place that we can call comfort, right? So That's why we are more prone not to move out of our comfort zone, but God will call you out of your comfort zone. How many of you know that God will call you out of your comfort zone, and you have to be willing to move from your comfort zone to the uncomfortable places that God wants to send you or do for you in your life? But because you are so comfortable sitting where you're at, and positioning yourself where you're at, where it's just become your norm. How can you become the best version of yourself? How can you become you? If you are still sitting in that comfort zone when God is calling you to move from that comfort zone. So God will call you out of your comfort zone, and when He calls you out of your comfort zone, you will have to rely on Him to do what you cannot do yourself. And the only thing God is asking of you is movement, right? When God calls us out of something, that means He's trying to put us into a place, of success, a place of, even understanding ourselves even more. He has something, that He wants to open up for us. But if we continue to stay in a comfortable zone, guess what? We will never be able to see the fruition of what God's plans are for us in totality. And so God, when He calls us, to do something, when He calls us to come out of a comfortable zone to an uncomfortable zone, He is calling us and He is asking us to, get moving, get moving, get moving. Don't just sit there, get moving, because I have things I want you to do. I have plans, I have purpose, I have destiny for you, and it's waiting for you, but you must get up out of that comfort zone place that you in, so that you can see basically the goodness of the Lord. Amen. And so because in when we're in this uncomfortable place, it will stretch you. Sometimes, you when you come from a comfortable place, to an uncomfortable place, it will definitely stretch you. It will stretch you to a point where, you probably won't even know if you're coming or if you're going, but it's going to stretch you, in a good way, not in a negative way, but it's going to stretch you in a positive way. And it's going to show you what you are made of. It's going to show you what you are made of, and how, you can do a thing, if you allow yourself to be stretched. It will stretch your boundaries. It will help you to face your fears, and will have you depending on God completely. Because, when God takes us out of our comfort zone and puts us into a comfortable place, guess what? We have to depend on Him every step of the way. That's why, we're always saying, or I say all the time, God, order my steps, in your word, lead me, guide me every day, so that's what, I'm leaning on God and depending on God completely, so that He can order your steps as you are coming out of that comfort zone, and put you in the place of where you need to be. And so, with that being said, I'm reminded of a story in the Bible, and it's found in Genesis 12. And here is very familiar a story when God calls Abraham to leave his country. He says, when God tells Abraham to leave his country and to go to a land that He would show him at that time, it didn't make a lot of sense. To Abraham, because he was comfortable where he was, but he knew that he had to follow the voice of God telling him to go pick up his stuff and go to a place of unfamiliarity or uncomfortableness, and he had to take his family and friends, and he was he was familiar with the land. That's why it probably took him took him for a moment, or shocked him for a moment, because he was in a place where he knew everything. Like, he knew the land, he knew the blueprint, he knew where everything was, he knew how to go find stuff. I mean, like, he just knew where everything was, and it's because that's the place that he was comfortable in. But Abraham, he had to get up and he had to go. Abraham could have easily chosen to stay right where he was, but he knew that he would step out of his comfort zone, God will give him something bigger. He knew that if he stepped out of his comfort zone, God would give him something better. God wants to give us something better. He doesn't want us to stick with the same thing, over and over again. He doesn't want us to have that same, thing that we've been dealing with in our lives, constantly. But God wants to give us something new. He wants to give us something better, and we have to be open to receiving that something new and something better. And therefore that's going to take you out of your comfort zone to go into a place that is uncomfortable for you. But guess what? That place is going to be a better place for you, because guess what? It's going to grow you. It's going to help you. It's going to move you closer to your purpose, your assignment, and your destiny. And it's going to help you to really understand how you are made up, and your limited beliefs. So he does what Abraham does, what God asks, and he picks up his things. He takes his family, and he leaves the place of familiar, the place of comfort, to go to a place he's never been before. And this was an uncomfortable place he knew nothing about. But because he heard God's voice say, go, Abraham went. How about that? When he heard God's voice say, go, Abraham went, because, in Genesis 12, I believe it's the first second verse, where it says, I will bless you, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. You will be a blessing. Like, God was really setting Abraham up to be a blessing to nations, right? And so because, he had spoke these things to Abraham, knew that, because God said that, he was going to bless him, and he was going to be a blessing to a nation, to people, that, he had to heed to that voice. He had to go and to a place that, he did not know where God was leading him, because, God did not say, okay, you're going to go over to Baltimore City, or you're going to go over to, Howard County. No, he didn't tell him the place that he was going to. He told him, just to, pick up your things and go. And when, you get to that place, I will let you know that that's the place that you are supposed to settle, right? And so Abraham, he heard the voice, he picked up his family, he picked up his things, and he took what he needed, and he left, and he went to where God was telling him to go. So let me share this with you. God is trying to get you from a place of comfort when he begins to speak to you directly. When God begins to speak to you directly, and you begin to hear that inner voice saying, exactly what you need to hear, and you don't move, then that's a problem, because that means that something has got you stuck. Something, has got a hold of you where you won't move. But whenever you hear the voice of God speaking to you to do a thing, you must get up out of your comfort zone and go to the uncomfortable places that God is trying to send you, so that something good and something better can happen for you. And sometimes, people won't move because they are not comfortable moving with the voice that they heard say go. Even though this place of uncomfort is going to give you just what you need, this place of uncomfort is going to give you more than what you expected. Come on now. It's going to give you more than what you expected. What is that more that God is wants to give you? What is that more that's going to be more than what you expected? It's going to blow your mind. But guess what? You got to follow that voice, God's voice, to say, for God to tell you what your next steps are, what you need to do next. You need to follow that voice so that God can bless you, and so that God can allow you to bless others. So now, why is it that you may not want to come out of your comfort zone? Is it maybe you don't trust yourself? Or maybe you're not confident in yourself, or maybe you have low self-esteem. Maybe you were told you will always be stuck where you are. Whatever the case, this keeps you from becoming you. This keeps you from truly understanding the essence of who you really are and what you are made of. This keeps you from operating in your divine self, your true, authentic self, when you are stuck in the place of comfort, that comfort zone that keeps you stuck. You see, those who operate in the uncomfort zone know and understand their divine self. They're not afraid to go with the voice. They're not afraid to go with the voice of God, the voice that God, the voice of when God tells them to do something. They're not afraid to go because they know that as they follow the leading of God's voice, guess what? They know that something better is down the road. Now I'm not going to say that, when you go into a uncomfortable zone, that it's going to be easy. No, I'm not saying that. Sometimes when you go into an uncomfortable zone, it's kind of hard. It's kind of rough. And sometimes, you want to quit because you don't want to be in that uncomfortable zone for long. But guess what? You have to go through the process. You have to go through the process of God even shaping you and molding you into whatever it is that he's trying to shape you and mold you into, so that, one, of course, I'm always going to say this, you can become the best version of yourself, and two, you can fulfill the purpose and the plan that God has on your life. And so when God has something tremendous he wants to do in your life, he's going to send you to those uncomfortable places because guess what? He wants to give you something better. He wants to show you something better. He wants to let you know that, you matter and you are significant. You are valued. I value you. You are significant. You are important. So guess what? I need to do this for you so that you can get up out of your comfort zone and get to the place of where I'm trying to send you. So why should we get out of our comfort place? Why should we get out of this comfort zone if we're so comfortable in this zone? When you're like, you really want to come out of this comfort zone, because guess what? You're never, ever going to learn any more about yourself than what you know about yourself now, right? You're not going to know what makes you tick, what makes you laugh, what makes you cry, what makes you sad, what makes you excited, what makes you do the things that you do. You're not going to understand the importance and the value of who you are if you do not come out of that comfort zone. So yes, you have to come out of the comfort zone so that God can begin to show you something better, to begin to show you exactly, why he created you. And so, why should we come out or get out of this comfort zone? The comfort zone, number one, you want to come out of this comfort zone because sometimes this comfort zone can be deadly. Right? People who remain in their comfort zone do not accomplish much at all. And it takes no effort to live a life of comfort and settling for mediocrity. So people who remain in their comfort zones for their entire life will stay there for their entire life. And so the majority of people who have stayed in their comfort zone, they just settle. They just settle for the comfort. They settle for the comfort. They say, I'm good where I'm at. I don't need that and I don't need this. I'm good where I'm at. And basically, no, you should not be good. You should not be good where you're at. You should not be settling for less. But you should be wanting God's best for your life. And so when you have people who are just settling, it's because they really don't care too much about themselves. And then when you don't care about too much about yourself, guess what? You're going to settle, and you're going to settle for the comfort zone that's been given you. So you have to try, to come out of this comfort zone. You have to think better of yourself and say, you know what, I'm coming out of this rut. I'm coming out of this, this pitfall. I'm coming out of this because this is not how my life is supposed to be. My life is supposed to be better than this. I'm tired of living like this day after day after day after day, and I'm tired of settling for less. And guess what? Yes, I want God's best. And so you have to get yourself up out of the place of being in a comfort zone and come into a place of an uncomfortable zone so that you can see something better. And so sometimes, when people settle, and it's because, they fear something, they fear, failure, they fear that they're not going to be successful. They fear that nobody's going to support them. They fear that no resources are going to be there. They fear that there's not going to be any help. But guess what? You can't let that determine, how you move from your comfort zone to the uncomfortable zone that God wants you to grab, and to move with. And so one of the things that, you must do to come out of this comfort zone, you got to try something new. You got to try some new things, new things to help you to come out of the comfort zone that you're in. You have to be fearless. You have to be bold. You have to be courageous. You have to be daring. You have to be adventurous and believe that you can accomplish more when you come out of your comfort zone into the uncomfortable zone, because guess what? You're going to see something better. You're going to see something that you've never saw before. And so you have to let your uncomfortable zone motivate you to take action on living life on a new level. We always saying, I'm going to another level. I'm going to another level. I'm going to a new level. Now, how about that? You want to be able to take action. So if you say that you're going to a new level, guess what? Now it's time to take action on, moving towards that new level that God is trying to get you to. And so you have to push yourself and you have to push yourself and do what needs to be done so that you can hit that new level. You can achieve anything with hard work and dedication when you're in an uncomfortable zone. And so if you're saying I'm going to this new level, you got to be able to dedicate yourself to the new level. And when you dedicate yourself to the new level, you're going to be actually operating in the uncomfortable zone. And as I said before, that uncomfortable zone may not feel good. That uncomfortable zone may be a little bit rough, maybe a little bit tight. But that comfort zone is going to get you to from where you are to where you need to be. And so you might be saying, well, how do I get out of my comfort zone? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, I am. Because, to get out of your comfort zone, you must first realize why you are where you are. Why are you where you are? Why are you stuck? Why are you stuck in a place that you're supposed to get up and move? You're supposed to get up and move, but you want to keep yourself in that place of stagnation because, you're not realizing, why you are where you are in the first place. And some people do understand why they are where they are in the first place. Maybe you had some disappointments. Maybe you had some pains and some hurts and some struggles that you were dealing with or that came your way and you did not know how to deal with it. And so guess what? You kept yourself in a comfortable place because you did not want that pain or that hurt to come up against you, ever again. So guess what? You took yourself and sat yourself down and put yourself into a comfortable place when God was trying to say, I need you to come out of that place because I want to put you in an uncomfortable zone so that you can get from where you are to where you need to be. And so ask yourself that question. Why are you where you are right now today? Why are you where you are right now today? And give yourself a real answer. Don't just, give yourself any answer. Give yourself a real answer so you can understand why you are where you are, right? If you're working the same job, if you're in the same position you were in 10, 20, 30 years ago, if you're still paying off the same debts, it's time for some self-examination on your part because there's some things that you probably weren't doing that the voice of God was telling you that, you should do, but you kind of put it off and say, I'll do that later, I'll take care of that later, and you'll keep putting it on the back burner, and guess what, 10, 20, 30 years, you still have that same debt, you still, are paying those same, those same bills, you still, are working that same job. Now, don't get me wrong, some people people, they have a job where they want to retire, but if God has called you to be an entrepreneur, why are you still sitting in that? Why are you still working at that job? Why are you still working at that same job when God told you to get up and go to the place I want to show you, which is entrepreneurship, which is to start your own business. But because you're in your comfort zone, guess what? You're not hearing or heeding the voice of God because you rather stay comfortable versus getting out there, dedicating yourself to the uncomfortable zone so that you can see something better, so that you can have financial freedom, so that you can be debt free, so that you can be your own boss, right? And sometimes people want to stay in that place, and then, when, they get a little bit older, they be like, woe is me. I should have did this. I should have did that. No, you need to go ahead and do it now, so that can, be able to see something better. Okay, so we cannot become what we want to be by remaining what we are. So you have to know why you are where you are. Is it fear? Is it a desire to be comfortable in your surroundings, and in the things you do on a daily basis? Do you know your comfort zone? Do you not know your comfort zone is an enemy of your future? When you stay in a comfortable place, that's the enemy of your future, because that enemy is not going to allow you to move forward, in your future, to do the things that God has called you to do, because the enemy has kept you in a comfortable zone where he does not want you to see your future. See, the enemy knows your future. He knows everything about your future. But he wants to know if you know about your future, right? He wants to know if you know about your future. And if you have no clue about your future, the enemy can come in and begin to wreak havoc all over the place, because guess what? You don't know anything about your future. Come on. So guess what? You got to get into a place, of being uncomfortable, getting into that uncomfortable zone, so that the enemy won't steal your future. So that your future won't be hindered because of your fear, or because of your lack of confidence, whatever it may be. You want to get to a place where you are operating and moving towards your future. You don't want to, have a hindrance to your success. You don't want to have stumbling blocks to your destiny. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will never leave nor surpass your current reality. So if you don't like where you are, it's time for you to do something about it. It's time for you to change your reality that will make you uncomfortable, to move you from where you are to where you need to be. To move you from where you are to where you need to be. Secondly, to get out of your comfort zone, you must let go of what's holding you back. One of the things that keeps us comfortable is that we don't want to face our fears. And to let go of what's holding you back, you must, without a shadow of a doubt, you must face your fears. If you don't face your fears will keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and you will be unable to let go of what's holding you back due to the amount of fear growing in you. Do you not know some of you are allowing growing fears to eat at you from the inside, to the point you have made them part of your life? These are fears that sleep with you, eat with you, go out with you, talk to you, drive with you. I can go on and on and on and on, but the reality is this. You cannot allow any fears to weigh you down. You cannot allow any fears to control your every move. So in order to let go of any fears, you must take each fear that is holding you back and deal with it completely. So one of the ways you can deal with and let go of any fears is to write your fears down. And every fear that you have, go into details about that fear. Write about how that fear blocks you from many opportunities, many doors opening for you. Write it down. How does that fear keep you stuck? And how does that fear not allow you to take certain steps? So you have to begin to write down, every fear that you have, and begin to, put, some description next to it. And then once you do all of that, I want you to analyze how that fear fear makes you feel. Analyze how that fear makes you feel. And so you must analyze how that fear makes you feel. You got to ask yourself the what. Name the fear. Name the fear. The why. Why do you have this fear? And the how. How did this fear come about? Then then the when. So you got the what, the where, the what, the why, the how, the when. When did this fear appear? There were, and then the were. So you got the what, the why, the how, the when, the where. So where is this fear now, and how, and what are you going to do with this fear? And then I want you to change your viewpoint about the fear that you have. So are these fears really real? Because your fears can be real and your fears can be legit, right? It can be legitimate. Your fears can also be your reality, something that, has always, been there. And you've always feared, this thing or whatever that fear may be. Is it just your reality? And so your fears could be just your reality, or was this fear planted in you? Because sometimes it could have been a fear planted in you from somebody else. For example, I remember when I was about to fly for the first time in my life, this wasn't just an hour flight, but it was actually an 8-hour flight. So how many people, when they first fly, get on a flight that's 8 hours? Normally they just taking a trip from one state to the next state, but I was actually going to another country. And so that's why it took 8 hours on this flight. And so I was so excited about going overseas, but I was so nervous and afraid of flying at the same time, on a plane because, of a fear that was planted in me. So why was I so nervous and so afraid to fly on a plane for the very first time? Well, it was my mother's fear that was planted in me. My mother fears a whole lot of things, and one of the things she feared the most was flying in a plane. And so because she feared flying in a plane, she always talked about, her fears of flying in a plane. And so that was like kind of embedded, in us. And so when we were able to have the first experience of flying on a plane, that fear gripped us. That fear came into us because of the things that she talked about as far as flying. So when it came time for me to board the plane, fear just struck me. Like it just got a hold of me. And how did I get through it? I had to tell myself this was not my fear. This fear does not belong to me. I kept saying this to myself for an hour after the plane had took off. And the more I said this, this fear, is not my fear. This fear does not belong to me. This fear is not my fear. This fear does not belong to me. This fear is not my fear. This fear doesn't belong to me. And the more I said this fear does not belong to me, the fear went away and it never returned. And as a matter of fact, the 8-hour flight, was a great flight. I had a great experience, on that flight. But after that first initial fear to fly, I've been flying ever since. I'm not afraid to fly on a plane because I took a fear that did not belong to me, and I, basically moved it away. I moved it away from me so that fear would not be a part of me. And so sometimes, we stay in our comfort zone because we fear. We have a fear because of something that was planted within us. Now, the enemy will plant some fears in you. The enemy will tell you, share with you about some things that makes you fearful and stuff like that. But that's the enemy's job to do that. But it's what you do to get yourself out of that fear. It's what you do to overcome that fear. And so when you are trying to deal with that fear, and confront that fear, you got to change your viewpoint, about that fear. Does that fear really belong to you? Was that fear planted in you? And if that fear does not belong to you, and if that fear was planted into you, it will be very easy for you to get rid of that fear, to overcome that fear, because it wasn't your fear in the first place. Now, when you have a fear that, you're dealing with that as part of your reality, or a fear that is, absolutely real, you still gotta, conjure up some, affirmations, to kind of get those fears away from you as well. So those fears will not stick with you. And so, you have to change your viewpoint, when it comes to your fears, which means that you have to change your mindset about the fears that is keeping you stuck, in a place of comfort, keeping you stuck in that comfort zone where God is wanting to take you out of that comfort zone to put you in an uncomfortable zone so that you can see something better, do something better, for yourself. So, what are some positive ways that fear can help you overcome this fear? One, identify your fears through writing, as I suggested. Begin to write down every fear that you have, and begin to, detail it out. Begin to, share, your story about this fear, so that you can identify the fear, where did the fear come from? Why do I have the fear? Identify these fears, and write them down, write them out in details, because sometimes when you write out things, you'll be able to see clearly why this fear is a part of you. And then once you find out why this fear is a part of you, and once you identify these fears, you want to be able to release control of those fears. You don't want those fears controlling you. You don't want those fears, overwhelming you. You don't want those fears to keep you stuck. You don't want those fears to not allow you to go through doors of opportunity, because of these fears. You don't want these fears to not help you understand even more about yourself. And so you have to release control, of those fears, so that you can get to the place where God wants you to be. And then you have to recite positive affirmations to help you release, and get rid of those fears. Just as I said, a fear that was planted in me, I said, some affirmation. I said some things to myself, this fear does not belong to me, and I kept saying that over and over and over again. And then that fear, went away. And so you got to have some positive affirmations to help you to release and get rid of those fears, that are weighing you down and that are holding you down and that are keeping you stuck and keeping you in that comfortable zone. All right. And then you have to visualize yourself as unafraid of those fears. So see yourself, not being afraid of those fears. See yourself moving past those fears. See yourself looking fear in the face and say, hey, guess what? You don't have me. I'm going to keep it moving. Because guess what? It's fear. You will not get the best of me. So you got to visualize yourself unafraid of any fears that you are battling with. And don't allow your fear to hold you back of doing something positive, because fear will hold you back from doing something positive because you have that fear, right? And so you want to be able to, not allow any fears, whatever the fear may be, hold you back of doing something positive. Because when you do something positive, outside of your fear, guess what? You're moving towards your future. You're moving towards success. You're moving towards becoming a better version of yourself. You're moving towards understanding yourself even more because you was able to not allow the fear to hold you back from doing something positive. So know that you don't have to stay where you are, but you can come from out of your comfort zone and move towards the uncomfortable zone to get you to where you need to be. So as you think about your comfort zone and looking to getting out of your comfort zone, here are some quotes I found I want to leave with you. One quote says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Here's another one. Great things never come from comfort zones, or great things never came from comfort zones. So, it's telling you right there, you can't do anything great if you're in a comfort zone. You can't, move forward if you in a comfort zone. So you'll never see any great things happen for you in your life as long as you're staying in the comfort zone. Here's another one. Outside of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. So when you become out of your comfort zone and you go into the uncomfortable zone, guess what? Magic is going to happen. Manifestation is going to happen. Things are going to happen. Something better, something good is going to happen because you stepped outside of your comfort zone. Here's another one. If we're growing, we're always going to be out of our comfort zone. So When you know that you're growing, that means that you're no longer in your comfort zone, that you have come out of your comfort zone, gone into the uncomfortable zone, to you grow even more. And so that's how you know that you're growing, because you came out of that comfort zone and you've entered into the uncomfortable zone to grow even more, even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be or look like, but you know it's going to be something better, and it's going to be something good. Here's another one. Comfort zones are where dreams got to die. So when you are in a comfort zone, your dreams will die. Just think about that. Your dreams will die if you stay in your comfort zone. So you definitely want to get out of your comfort zone so that your dreams will not die. And here's another quote: all progress takes place outside the comfort zone. So you cannot have any progress when you're in a comfort zone, but when you're in the uncomfortable zone, guess what? Progress takes place. Progress happens. And then you'll begin to see the end result of you being in the uncomfortable zone. Here's another one. To the degree where we're not living our dreams, our comfort zones has more control of us than we have over ourselves. So that is saying that when you're in a comfortable place, when you're in your comfort zone has more control over you than you have over yourself. So you want to be able to come out of that comfort zone so that your comfort zone will not have control of you, but you will be able to have control over yourself if you come out of your comfort zone and go into the uncomfortable zone of where you need to be, where you are to where you need to be. And then lastly, true self-discovery begins where your comfort zone ends. And so to discover your true self, to discover, what you're made of and all that, all those good things, you have to begin to come out of your comfort zone. You have to allow your comfort zone to end, because that's not where you're supposed to be. That's not where you're supposed to stay. You're supposed to come out of that comfort zone so that you can discover your true self, and do the things that God wants you to do because of it. And so remember, we have to get out of our comfort zone because God wants to do some things in our life. He wants to, flourish us. He wants to, have us to thrive. He wants us to soar. But we cannot stay in a comfort zone because our comfort zone is not going to allow us to do that. And so we got to get ourselves uncomfortable so that we can do the things that God wants us to do. And this is how you're going to help assist yourself in becoming, becoming a better successful you in life and in business, because you are coming out of that comfort zone and you're landing yourself in an uncomfortable zone where God can bless you and where you can bless others because of it. I'm Dr. Diane Duckett, and thank you for listening to another episode of Becoming You, a podcast that helps assist you in becoming a better successful you in life and business.